Lagos now I only you. A beautiful city, I must conquer. Lagos now we city, the heaven of investment. Oh. Blue lines have done there from Okoko Michael to Marina. Everywhere you enter, Lagos too sweet. We got good road, we got structure. Better healthcare, they oh, tourist attractions. Better food, they oh, setting locations. Security, they oh, entertainment, oh, better job, world class bridges, better government, oh, beautiful culture, electricity, everywhere,
Good day and welcome to another exciting episode on State on Focus. I'm Jamil Abdullahi. A peaceful, organized and progressive society can only thrive where laws are not only respected but also properly enforced, regularly reviewed and aligned with the realities of the people they serve. In Lagos State, under the visionary leadership of Mr. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, law reforms have become a strategic tool for strengthening justice delivery, promoting good governance, enhancing public order, and creating an enabling environment for economic growth and social equity. Today, we take a detailed look at the Lagos State Law Reform Commission, LAWRECOM, its mandate, the importance of ongoing law reforms, their direct impact on residents and businesses, and the step-by-step procedures involved in reviewing, drafting, and implementing these laws across the state. To talk us through this is the Executive Secretary of the Lagos State Law Reform Commission, Mrs. Oluyemisi Ogunlola. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Lagosians. Thank you for having me.
Okay, ma'am. The Lagos State Law Reform Commission is tasked with reviewing, reforming, updating, and simplifying the state's laws. Could you briefly walk us through the legislative drafting process from issue identification to the stages a bill goes through before becoming law?
Thank you, Jamil. Let me first correct you that it's not the legislative drafting process, it's the law reform process.
Thank you very much.
Legislative drafting is part of the reform process. So the law reform process starts with identification of challenges, issues that needs to be looked into. For instance, if a law is obsolete, or if there's a gap, or the provisions of the law is no longer serving the needs of the people, or does not meet the current realities. You know, but the society is always evolving. So we identify the challenge, the gap. After identification, then we go on to research. Research is a major function of Law Reform Commission. We research on our desk. We research by comparing also with what obtains in other jurisdictions. We call that benchmarking. Then after carrying out the research, looking for and being able to observe and come to a conclusion of what will work for Lagos, what can be adapted, because it's not everything that obtains in other jurisdictions that can be adapted to our own society or the agenda of government, because that is also paramount. Anything that we want to do, we must adapt it to the agenda of the current administration and what works for Lagos. So then we come up with our reports, proposals, suggestions on there's need to amend this law, there's need to come up with new innovations, there's need to remove part of a provision that is no longer serving the needs of the people. Then we write recommendations to the Chief Law Officer of Lagos State, that is the Attorney General, because that is the office supervising the Law Reform Commission. Then once approval is gotten, we go on to meeting with the people, because law reform without the people is not workable. We meet with the people through stakeholders engagement to get their feedback, to get their input, because the law is meant to govern them. So they must know what the law says. We must know what works for Lagos, that is Lagosians. We meet with them, get feedback, put it into the draft that has been approved before it will go on for consideration by the Executive Council. If approved, it goes on to the House of Assembly. If passed, it goes on to become law.
Wow, that's quite a process, man. Yeah. So talking about data and statistics, man, since you assumed the office, how many bills has the Commission successfully transformed into laws? and which key areas have seen the most reform?
Okay, you already mentioned that it's a long process. So law reform is not something that we can start. At times it takes as long as a year, it takes more than a year because it goes through different processes. Many stakeholders are involved, and it's not something that we can do like quickly and we'll turn over. The turnover rate is slow, not because law reform is not working, but because that is the process. So since I've assumed office, most of the reforms that we have initiated are still ongoing. We have looked into we are still looking into, but we have initiated the administration of estates law. We are working with Ministry of Agric to ensure that most of their laws meet with current realities. You know, food security is a major area for this administration. We are also working with the Ministry of Tourism. Most of these reforms are ongoing. They have not been concluded. But one area that I know it's also germane to Lagos State that we have worked on, and this law has gone on to, as at now has gone on to ESCO, is the subject of diaspora engagement. The Lagos State government has, through an executive order, set up the diaspora office. And but there's need for a policy framework, a legal framework to guide the office. So law reform has worked with the Office of Diaspora Engagement and Internal Migration to come up with a law that will serve the purpose of Lagosians that are outside Nigeria, and see ways of collaborating with them for the development, social economic development of Lagos. So that's one that we have concluded, but others are still being looked into because they are still in the process of being concluded.
Many residents or Lagosians, we feel law is too excessive, like everything must have law, everything, there must be law guiding it. How will you say the Commission identify obsolete or redundant laws, and what is the role, and how do you address such laws?
Okay, every society, even association, private association are governed by rules, are governed by laws. So a society without laws would become lawless at the end of the day, and definitely the people will not benefit from it. So laws are, I wouldn't say laws are many, and that's why Lagos State Law Reform Commission is trying as much as possible, has initiated several mechanisms to reach the people, to ensure that they know why these laws are made, what they benefit from it, what their responsibility is, under the various law that has been made. So the major focus of Law Reform Commission is to engage the people, let them know which laws, policies that the government is churning out and how it relates to them. So another way that we've been reaching out to the people as well is also by collaborating with other agencies of government who has been assigned the responsibility of engaging with the society, like the Office of Civic Engagement. You know, through that office, we are able to meet with the public and to sensitize them on what each law represents and how it affects them.
Recently, I understand there was a stakeholder forum on advancing Lagos fiscal sustainability. What key legal reforms are you proposing to strengthen revenue administration, reduce leakages, and align with the new national tax reforms effective 2026?
Thank you. That forum was actually to engage revenue generating agencies in Lagos State. We have key agencies that, they are, one of their functions is to also assist the government in bringing in revenue that will be used in running the state. And we found out that, like I said, if laws are obsolete, then the revenue generating agencies will not be able to use that framework to perform their responsibilities. So the forum was actually to meet with them, to engage with them. It's like a stakeholders engagement, and look into their laws, look into areas that are no longer serving or are assisting them in delivering on their mandate, because most of these agencies are set up by law and they have mandates. They also have, in the areas of revenue generation, they have to be efficient. So if the laws are not allowing them, maybe there are leakages, maybe enforcement is weak, for instance, the enforcement might be weak, or penalties for the laws or fees are no longer like realistic. In situations where you for a penalty, I mean, you have in a law that it should be 10 naira or 20 naira. You know, in this day and age, that does not conform with what we have in the society. So those are the key areas where we want to look at and see how we can collaborate with these agencies to ensure that the laws that they have, because they cannot act outside their statutory framework, to ensure that the provisions in their laws meet the current needs and enables them to efficiently deliver on their mandate.
We all know that the world is digitalized, the world is AI, artificial intelligence. So now there's global discussions around the European Union AI Act and responsible AI governance. This should be intensifying very soon, and it will gather momentum now. What step is the Commission taking to develop legal frameworks for artificial intelligence, data protection, and digital services in Lagos State?
Right now, Lagos State has policies around data protection, cybersecurity, which is being anchored by the Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology. And the EU Act that you spoke about, I think it's going to become probably more effective this year, 2026. So what law reform does, part of our mandate, is to watch the trend, carry out our research. I mentioned earlier that whatever it is that we will do before we sit down and recommend proposal for laws, we must make sure that it is adaptable to our own society. So the fact that it is done by EU doesn't mean we are just going to carry what is being done there. So we are monitoring what is happening in that sector pertaining to AI, digital economy, and data protection. We are monitoring what Lagos State has put in place. We are monitoring nationally, because even nationally there is a Data Protection Act, there is the Cyber Security Act. So Lagos State, at the end of the day, after we have been able to monitor and carry out our research, we'll be able to come to a conclusion on what works for Lagos and in what areas.
Welcome back to State on Focus. Stay with us as we go deeper into the Lagos State law reform process. How is shaping a safer, fairer, and more transparent Lagos, where the rule of law works for everyone? You're welcome back to the program.
Thank you.
Okay, my one significant achievement that I understand that the DPO Commission has had in the past few weeks or few months was the translation of Lagos State laws into Yoruba. Like it's actually a commendable achievement now.
Thank you.
What was this public perception survey like, and how do you plan to expand access to justice for non-English speakers?
Let me first use this opportunity to thank the government of Lagos State, particularly Mr. Governor, for the approval to actually translate 70 laws out of the legal framework of Lagos State into Yoruba language. The initiative was well received by the people. A perception survey was actually carried out under the with collaboration with the Ministry of Economic Planning and Budget, and it was well received by the people. Currently, the laws have been translated. It has been uploaded onto a digital platform. You know, we are in a digital age, and the digital platform does not only provide for the text. I mean, it's not read-only. People can also listen to the audio, and that ensures that, I mean, there's accessibility for a wide range of people, not only people that can read. Some people can't even read Yoruba, but at least they can listen to it. So there's the audio version of it also on the platform. So going forward, what we want to do is that we need to take it more to the people, because the initiative is about accessibility and justice for Lagosians. Apart from making it accessible, also, I mean, target compliance, so that the fund that and the mechanism of ensuring that people obey enforcement, I mean, the government does not need to spend so much on it, because when people understand the law, they understand their responsibilities and their obligations and the privileges, benefits that it brings to them, then they will be more willing to obey. It brings governance closer to the people, and that also goes to show that Lagos prioritizes social inclusion, and we know that for Lagos, majority of the people we have here are Yoruba-speaking people. That was actually the basis, the premise on which that initiative was proposed. So going forward, the laws have been translated, 70 laws. It has been uploaded on a dedicated Yoruba website. You can read, you can also listen through the audio part of the website. We want to take it more to the grassroots. We intend to partner with the local governments, because that is where we have the majority of the people that will make use of these translated laws. We want to partner, we are already partnering with the Office of Civic Engagement, because their own ministerial responsibility deals with engaging the people and bringing people to understand what government is doing, so that they are not far away from the people. We will be organizing this year, maybe by the third quarter, we'll be organizing dialogues, Yoruba law dialogues we'll prioritize local government, in choosing local governments where we can meet with the people, sensitize them. We want to have simplified versions of the Yoruba law, so that for people that can't even go on the digital platform, we want to have simplified one in pamphlets that can be distributed. We would engage with them as well in local government. And the beautiful part of it is also that we want to have Yoruba law centers in pilot local government areas, where we can have our people, we can have staff that can engage with the people, can also assist them in accessing that digital platform, or any questions or observations.
Okay, man, the world has always been about protecting young people, women, and people with disabilities. In light of this, how are ongoing reforms in child rights law and social inclusion addressing the needs of young people, women, and persons with disabilities in Lagos State?
That's a very, very critical subject, and it's there to us in Law Reform Commission. The child rights law, we are currently working on it. Law Reform has been involved with the reform and the review of the child rights law over a couple of months and years now. We've been working on it with other ministries, particularly the Ministry of Youth and Social Development, because that is the implementing ministry. So we are working on that. We are also working with LASODA. Okay. LASODA, we have a collaborative partnership with LASODA to look into their laws and see how to bring it up to speed with what the current realities, remove gaps that they have been able to identify in its implementation. We held an engagement with LASODA, I think some few months ago, but majorly we have a proposal that is ongoing that we believe that we'll be able to push out by the end of this year. There's a social protection policy in Lagos. We have this social protection programs that are held and managed by different agencies like Women Affairs, Ministry of Youth, where people are actually supported through various means, particularly the less privileged, the vulnerable people, families are supported to ensure that everybody is brought to speed and to enjoy the dividends of governance in Lagos State. So, and we have seen that currently the policy that we have is not backed by law. And if a policy is lower in rank than a law, that means tomorrow it can be changed. It may not be followed up to the letter. So what we are currently doing, and we have a draft already, and we'll be engaging with the relevant MDAs, is we want to push out a social inclusion and social protection law that would enable Lagos to put all these laudable initiatives that is being implemented in respect of social protection and social inclusion into a legal framework and give a guideline on what is to be done by who, so that it would stand the test of time. That we would be able to churn out before the end of this year.
Okay. So looking ahead, Lagos State is all about trying to be a model, trying to be an example to other states and even African countries and even in the world, we are pace setters. So, ma, how do you intend to make this commission an example to others? How do you want to make the populace, that is the Lagosian, how do you want to make them trust the commission? What are your plans for the next 2 years, 5 years?
There are many ways to do this. One of the ways is what I've spoken about concerning the Yoruba language. Law is not only for government, law is for everybody. So we have gone the way of, okay, let's translate these laws for accessibility, for more engagement, so that people would engage more with Law Reform Commission. So that's one way of, telling people you can trust us. We are open to ideas. We want to hear from you. You have a voice and all the rest of it. So another initiative that we have come up with is what we call the Reform Intelligence Desk. The Reform Intelligence Desk is a platform where you can inform us of your observations, give us updates on laws that you see that it's obsolete, is not working, or you are having challenges in accessing a particular service that is guided or governed by a law or policy in Lagos. The Reform Intelligence Desk can be accessed either by coming physically to our office here or through our dedicated email address that we have, the reformintelligence@lawrecom.lg.gov.ng. You can also reach out to us on all our social media platforms. We are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, so that whatever observations we have concerning laws that is not working, and this one is not just for the populace, it's also for MDAs. So through this Law Reform Intelligence, the people can reach out to us, whether in Yoruba language, whether in English language, whether in Pidgin. You can submit your observations, you can submit the challenges that you are experiencing, and it is not limited to just lawyers, it is anybody, business owners, because it will also assist in improving the ease of doing business in Lagos, because we have many investors, but then there's one challenge or the other around some procedural laws. There are some gaps, so they can reach out to us and submit their observations, and we would take it up, and we'll also give them feedback. Not just we'll just take it, we'll give them feedback on what is being done and update on their observations and their inputs.
Thank you so much, Executive Secretary. It has been an enlightening and very educative section with you, and I really appreciate your coming to our program.
It's a pleasure. We appreciate you.
Yes, ma'am. As we conclude today's edition, it is important to remember that law reforms are not merely technical exercises. They remain essential to growth, stability, and sustainable development of every modern society. Through consistent review, stakeholder engagement, and proper implementation, Lagos State continues to promote justice, accountability, peace, and inclusive governance for the benefit of all of its citizens. Thank you for staying with us. We look forward to having you again on the next edition. I'm Jamil Abdullahi. Until then, keep obeying the law and let's build a greater Lagos together. Goodbye.
Lagos now I only you.